All right, we are at episode 5 of Speedwalking in Tracksuits with Jeremy. We have guest Michael McCullough, former editor of the Battle Creek Inquirer and now community mastermind at the Willard Library. I don't know. That's my own made-up title.
No. These days, I'm kind of like the resident historian. I've always been able to find jobs for which I'm totally unqualified for, and yet fake my way until I make it. So I am.
Well, we have that in common also. How many jobs have you had? Let's walk.
Oh, how many jobs? Jeez. Well, in journalism, several. My first job was in a beverage air factory welding department. Well, my first real job. Before that, I cut grass. I did all kinds of shit.
Where was that? Pennsylvania?
Brookville, Pennsylvania.
Right.
So if you've been to a bar and see a beverage air cooler, there might be a piece of my flesh in it, because I used to get cut all the frickin' time.
Beverage air cooler. That's a brand.
Yeah, beverage air.
I think we might have one of those at Sprout.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
I've had a lot of jobs. Let's talk about our jobs. This is a fun category, I think, because I bet you've had some weird ones. My first job, besides, my first business, I was 8 years old, and I washed golf balls that I found in the woods at Riverside Country Club and sold them to members from T number 13 back in 1985. And those gracious members let me believe that they were worth what I was selling them for. And that was nice. But my first real job was at the Riverside Country Club also, washing golf clubs. We going this way?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, we're going to walk by the former Claire's Tuxedo building. Again, it's not tracking my guests, so we're going to do weird things and figure out how to use this camera.
That is such a cool building.
It is really a cool building. And beautiful art on the walls.
Yeah.
Don't know what they're doing with it now, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What's
know what's going on.
What's the weirdest job you've had?
Oh, geez, weird jobs. Well, my work-study job at West Virginia University was in the Skinner Psych Lab, where I basically managed pigeons. They got stuck in Skinner boxes and pecked at a light.
Is that B.F. Skinner?
B.F. Skinner?
Nice.
Yeah, they were real devotees to that whole brand of psychology and
positive, negative reinforcement. Yeah.
So I was working in animal experimentation. How about that?
That's
How
pretty
about
awesome.
that for my liberal credentials, huh?
Pete is rolling.
Well, I didn't get involved in any of the shock therapy or any of that. But they did do that.
The only reason I know who B.F. Skinner is not because of college. It's because of my high school English teacher, Mrs. Statler at Lakeview. We had to read a book called Walden 2, and it was about a psychological experiment on child rearing. Yeah, that's it. That's all I know. That's all I remember. B.F. Skinner, positive, negative reinforcement.
I actually met his daughter, who was put into a kind of version of a Skinner box. Her father did that to her, but she was a devotee of the discipline as well. It's all crazy, but I was 18, and what the hell.
Was that also in Pennsylvania?
No, that was Morgantown, West Virginia.
Morgantown. There's a Morgantown in Tennessee, near Dayton, Tennessee, where I had my 12th job as a footrest foam stocker for Lazy Boy Chair Factory. And that was probably one of the better paying jobs I've had to date. I think I made $16 an hour in 1997 as a base rate, plus you had to count the pieces that you moved and keep track of all that. That was a really weird job. I remember I was a smoker at the time, and when we would go out for our smoke breaks, the guys that I worked with would eat 15 bologna sandwiches and smoke a half pack of cigarettes in 15 minutes. It was insane just to watch. Sometimes I never smoked or ate. I just was sort of flabbergasted that they could eat and smoke so much. It's like they would take a drag in between processed meat bites and
Geez. You know, a lot of jobs, I hated when I do them, but I look back on them fondly. But, the welding job was one of those. It was rough trade in there, and it was terrible conditions. I used to bathe galvanized metal in methyl chloride without any kind of protective gear. It was interesting. I had to be there at 5 o'clock every morning. I had overtime was mandatory. It was just, it was a lousy job, but I look back on it, I learned so much from it. But another one, I worked in natural gas production in the summers for like 4 or 5 years.
I've been producing natural gas for about 45 years.
And one summer, my job, it took me, I was living in a boarding house in the Allegheny National Forest. And we were like swabbing wells or bailing wells, these gas wells. And I would just get covered in brine and oil. And I lived in a boarding house with, 40 of my closest friends. With one bathroom, hotter than hell. And downstairs was a bar. And so every morning there'd be lumberjacks, railroad men, miners, all kinds of people, and they would get their 2 quarts of beer, drink one on the way to the job, and then one in their morning break. So
nice.
That was an interesting job.
And where was that? Oh, sorry, the camera's not following us.
The boarding
here.
house was in Wilcox, Pennsylvania, which is northwest, up around Kane, close to Erie, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of things. As always expected. I started picking up, all kinds of jobs when I was like 13. So anyway, and then I found myself in journalism. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I found myself along this path of I don't know what the fuck I do exactly. Some nonprofit management. Mostly, I like to say that I start things. I'm not really great at finishing them, but I start a lot of things. I'm a tribe builder, community organizer, and I enjoy the absurd and silly, and I'm trying to really embrace that lately because it's a part of me. One of my favorite jobs was a cheesemonger, and so speaking of bullshitting your way into jobs, this is in relation to a previous job. I taught English in France in 2002 and 3, and to high school and junior high kids. And when I came back home, I moved to East Lansing to live with my girlfriend at the time, and we went to the East Lansing Folk Festival to check out some music and met some really cool bearded folks like myself. Gosh, why is this not following us? There we go.
Well, you need a long arm.
Yeah, I do. I have a really long torso, but Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. And anyway, the East Lansing Food Co-op had a job opening for a cashier or something, and I applied. And when they read my resume, they said, "Well, you lived in France for a year. You must know a lot about cheese." And well, I did not tell the truth. I just said, "Yeah, I do know a lot about cheese." I didn't tell them that I didn't know shit about cheese, but I know that I like cheese, and I know that I was going to go to the library that night and learn about cheese if they hired me for a cheese job. So they did, and I didn't go to the library. I went to Barnes & Noble and read a book on cheeses and came back the next day pseudo-expert. And a year and 1 day later, I quit that job because I had never had a job that lasted longer than a year, so I wanted to beat my record. But that was a fun one, but it actually also led me to come home and want to change the food system in Battle Creek and start Sprout. So a lie led to this a fib. I don't know. There are lies, but there are lies. There are bad ones and good ones.
Yeah,
I think that was a good lie.
Sure. Well, my first job in paginating newspaper pages Fight for a job. Yeah, I know Quark inside and out. That was the desktop publishing software.
Which way shall we go?
Let's go under the bridge.
Okay. I've been under the bridge before.
Me too.
With Andy Humboldt. We, on the first episode of Speedwalking and Tracksuits with Jeremy, I feel like if I keep repeating that, I'm going to be famous one day. Okay, we're going to cross the street here, I think. Yes.
Yeah, so I said yeah, and I got the job, and then I found a friend who had Quark on floppy disks, and I borrowed his office, and I taught myself. And I got there, and I faked it until I got pretty good at it. But yeah, so me and George Santos have at least that in common. Inflating the resume, right? But
you know what I think is funny about George Santos' name is how similar it is to George Soros.
Yeah.
And I like to believe that they're the same person, and George Soros is going to take off a mask and be like, gotcha! If you don't know who those people are, don't worry.
It's okay.
You're not really missing any amazing content.
Not really.
Just American politics
Yeah.
at its finest. We're walking under the, we're going to see if this phone's going to track us again. Hey, little guy.
Hey.
There you are. Back under the bridge, skate park bridge with, I think I'm going to maybe try this. Look at that. We do musical walking. And now it's looking over there. Oh, hey there. Hi. Of course you are.
Well, you're
right.
going to get better at this.
That's what one would think.
You will.
This skate park under this bridge has some of the best art in town.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a ton of amazing art in this community.
Yeah, there is.
And I will say, thanks to artists and thanks to Justin Ander for putting on Color of the Creek and painting the town with beautiful street graffiti. But,
so this is cool. Go ahead, and I'll tell you something
it.
cool. Oh, something cool. I just had coffee with Justin a week or so ago. I've been working on this app for way too long, but it's a touring app, and I'm doing these tours around. Right now, I've been building historical kind of tours, and I'm going to do a downtown tour, Kellogg tour, an Venice tour, all kinds of stuff. But I also want to coordinate it and collaborate it, build it with the community. And one of the tours I want to do is all the art, public art.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and along the way, people taking these tours and learning about the artists wherever we can. They'll also learn about places where they can grab a bite or grab a drink or do something else with the kids. So
Well, let me know when you have one live, and we'll go. I'll take some people on speedwalking adventures on your tours.
sure, that'd be awesome.
This art drew me, so I wanted to have the audience check out that perspective art. I think it's pretty sweet.
So who did this, Jeremy?
Let's see. Well, I see it says Color of the Creek right there,
Yeah,
but
I
I
see
don't
that.
know that they did that. I wonder if it's BRND or if that's a tag over.
Yeah, 'cause
never really can tell. What I also like about this kind of art is it's not this sort of bougie museum permanent art.
Yeah.
It's here for the art. I mean, it's there for the creation.
Yeah.
More than it is for the spectator.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I'm making art because it's what I love.
Yeah.
And it might get ruined, it might get painted over, but so be it. Everything is impermanent. I love that about it. It's like building sandcastles.
Yeah.
You make this amazing thing. When my daughter and I build sandcastles, as soon as we're done, I ask her, what do we do now? And she says, we destroy it. And that's what we do.
Cool.
Oh, cool. Now we're walking towards action.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the opposite of most nonprofit meetings I'm in, where we don't move towards action.
Yeah. That is so cool right there.
This cat.
Yeah. Talking to the mouse.
What do you think, guys? So a little art tour down under the Washington Bridge, the Robert S. Miller Bridge, as a matter of fact. Robert S. Miller, the founder of the Battle Creek Inquirer and Moon.
No.
Not the Moon?
Robert Robert Miller Sr.
Senior.
is he was the son of Al Miller, who was recruited by C.W. Post to be the business manager for this little paper that he bought to be a soapbox for his ideas called the Enquirer. And Al Miller initially turned him down, but he got convinced to come up, and then he became the editor, and he created, and eventually they acquired the Moon Journal and everything else, all the copyright, and created Federated Publications, which was a national chain. Bob Miller Sr., he was one of those old lions, the movers and shakers that got shit done around town. And this bridge was one of them, because a lot of people who grew up here or know anything about the history remember when you could be locked in Battle Creek because there's trains on every exit out of town, because the rails weren't consolidated, and so getting bridges over the rails was a big deal. So that was one thing. He also was responsible for that hotel that they're renovating right now too. The former Stofers.
Yes. Did it start as the Stofers Hotel?
Yeah, it did.
It did, okay.
Yeah, it did.
And is that the same company that makes those lovely little microwave lasagnas?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I thought so.
Yeah.
As a kid, and then I wasn't sure recently. I brought this up because as a kid, I totally thought that that's where they made those lasagnas that my mom fed me when she went bowling every Thursday night until 2 a.m. Mom. Yep. Stouffer's lasagna.
Stouffer's
They
lasagna.
made them right there in that tower that Battle Creek Unlimited is redoing.
That's what I like about history. You can say something and it becomes true, whether it's true or not. Kurt Thornton does that all the time.
Does he?
He just makes shit up. Yeah.
That's great.
And then he'll admit later, I don't know anything. I just like pictures.
Well, this town has some amazing history, and I think that sometimes people don't know it or forget it.
Yeah. No, it's true.
One of my friends said something that I'll never forget, and I can't remember who said it, but he said that cemetery, the Oak Hill Cemetery, has like some of the coolest dead people in the country, all in one cemetery.
That's one of the tours I'm piloting on this app.
I was wondering. Oh, look, Lucky Penny. So, as a fan of Stand By Me and a friend of Vern, I don't ever walk by a penny without picking it up, because you never know if you can't find the pennies under the porch. If you don't get that reference, you're probably not a Gen Xer.
Yeah, the history here is amazing, and it's, I think, our largest untapped economic opportunity. This is a fascinating city. People would come to experience some of this stuff. So, and yet all of our institutions that are charged with preserving our cultural heritage operate on a shoestring, mostly with volunteers.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. What was his name? Barnes. I can't remember. The Dean of Journalism. How come I can't remember his name right now? I think it was Charles. He complained back in the early 1900s that the city didn't care enough about its history. So, it's an old problem.
Well, and this isn't a hashtag only in Battle Creek problem either, right? Historically, I think that the arts and history and our past are both overlooked, underappreciated, and not really given as much time or attention as they should.
Yeah. But we have some iconic. So I did a program with Kimberly Hawley and Liz Newmeyer and was it Jill? I can't remember now. Off the top of my head on Sojourner Truth. We went on for about 2 hours. You can find it on our website, by the way. It was live streamed and recorded. And the complexity.
What's your website? Sorry, say that again.
WillardLibrary.org.
All right.
Under the local history section. But the complexity of Sojourner Truth's life is amazing. And, just as an example, I'm putting together some artifacts for John Hart at the city on black-owned business throughout the history of Battle Creek. And one of the things I'm going to make a point in is that Sojourner Truth was a pioneer in understanding the value of copyright. I mean, she supported herself and her work with her image and her story. And And I mean, she was an entrepreneur. In addition to being, you know, a slavery survivor and an advocate for women's rights and reparations and equality and against the death penalty. I mean, all these things that even a lot of people don't know that. I mean, they think she was on the Underground Railroad, which she wasn't. But she was an entrepreneur in her time, and she was illiterate. And you know, it's just an extraordinary facet of her life that, you know, people don't understand or don't appreciate or just don't know about. So yeah,
Play music.
you gotta do it.
Yeah, I agree that there's way more about this community. I mean, I learned so much stuff. I just learned something just now from you, but there's so much to learn about just this place and about the world. And
Yeah.
It seems like, you know, it's not even encouraged
No, it's not.
in society for us to learn about our past or just be curious about things. But I think, I
really believe that knowing your story, and that's your history, that's the past, and that's everything that brought you to the point you're at, helps you write your story for the future.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, I mean, I love this town, and I love a lot of people that I disagree with vehemently on many issues because I think they're doing noble, well-intended work. But,
yeah, same. We could have a whole show on that.
But at the same time, I feel that we miss our greatest assets in our thinking about how we rebuild, you know, a sense of connection and community across town where everybody feels engaged, included. In that history, I mean, especially our history with the Hicksite Quakers and Sojourner Truth and the Adventists. I mean, this was a very progressive town in its time. And, you know, even our industrialists in the early parts, they took care of their employees. You know, C.W. Post famously made it accessible for factory workers to buy homes in the Post edition. And you remember the tours,
right?
That,
and live and work next to their homes.
Hey, Marvin. Yeah, and you know that was incredibly progressive in its time. You know, I'm not saying C.W. Post was a saint or anything like that. He had his problems too. You know, and tragically he ended his own life. But he was adamantly against unions. But at the same time, he kind of created workman's comp in its day, you know, in that housing situation, and you know, really cared about his employees and the safety of the workplace, which was unusual in its day. So we have a lot of stories like that, and it should define our values, I think. You know, knowing that, I think, will make us more aware of what we should be doing today. So, anyway. I get on my soapbox pretty easy.
No, I was just listening and letting our audience of 7 people listen as well, and learn. Yeah, that's C.W. Post to me is fascinating, amazing marketer, and yeah, kind of a d-bag sometimes, but also an awesome dude.
Yeah,
just like everybody else we know.
Just like me.
Exactly. Not me. I mean, everybody else except for me. Phenomenal human being, barely just shiny and polished. But so back on this beautiful river.
Yeah.
Battle Creek River. Beautiful parking ramp installed on the river here.
Yeah.
Probably one of the our community's biggest laughable moments, but and people think we don't have parking.
Oh, I know. And well, I wonder how used that is. I don't really know.
Currently, it's way underused.
Yeah.
But it's not unsalvageable. I can see little shops there. I can see a redo on this side. We need to face the river more.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's an amazing asset. You know, that whole thing about, you know, taking the channel away from the Kalamazoo. Yeah, please. I mean, quit treating it like a sewer.
Right.
You know, and see it for what it is, which is, again, a quality of life enhancement, beautifies the city. It creates recreation. It creates opportunity. So, and there are people working on it, so that's good.
And I think
there's always good signs around town, no matter how much I complain.
No, there's good stuff going on all the time. There's always change here. I think if you spend too much time online looking at what people say about Battle Creek, you're bound to have a bad opinion of Battle Creek, because there's a lot of negativity online. But at the end of the day, this is a town full of people with grit and determination. And in a lot of cases, not much more than that. The city is built from that. And I think that we need to remind ourselves that we don't need to wait for some white knight, so to speak, or some amazing corporate place to come move in here and save us. We're gonna save us over and over and over again. And really, we need to trust in each other. I think cooperatively owned businesses are one way. I also think that we should be investing in like manage to own, lease to own type businesses. Help people build capital from a lot of people do not have any access to generational wealth to start a business, but they have amazing ideas and amazing brains. And it's unfair that there's not equal access, and I think that we could balance that. And the world's not fair, blah, blah, blah. You people that say that shit are boring. But we are at 26 minutes. I say we walk around Clara's and see how long. It shouldn't take me 4 minutes to walk around Clara's, but I don't know if you all noticed. We slowed down this video really a lot because we were walking so fast. We're trying to keep up with regular citizens. Otherwise, I'm champion speedwalker here. Thanks for keeping up today.
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure, given your physique, if you were going to be able to keep up with such athletic prowess today.
Well, I've been nursing a torn Achilles for a while. But it's better. It's getting a lot better. So I can speed walk.
I'm glad we got a beautiful day.
It is.
I was hoping we didn't have to go to the mall today. Although, I gotta say, I have a new appreciation for the mall after walking in it a few times recently. Not for the amount of things that are going on in it yet, but how well kept that space is for how unused it is currently. And I also just want to say here again, every episode I'm going to say it, I think Horrocks is going to change that mall for the better and bring attention to it. And while I'm sad that Horrocks will not be downtown, I think it's an awesome thing for our mall and new opportunity.
I did too, and I know people that have said they're boycotting it or whatever, and I think that's silly. Well, for one thing, I think Horrocks is this can't be one of their most profitable places. It's a tough place to do business. That building is crap, and I'm glad they're here, and I'm glad they're going to stay.
Right. It could be worse. They could leave.
It could be worse.
They could go to Kalamazoo.
I will miss going into Horrocks downtown for a beer. I love that bar, and it's just as Hemingway would say, a clean, well-lighted place, and it's just a feel.
There's another douchebag that I like.
Yeah, me
Ernest
too.
Hemingway.
And and I love standing at the checkout and looking out at the skyline of Battle Creek.
Yes.
But like you say, it could be worse. We're lucky to have that caliber of store at Battle Creek, and I'm glad they're staying. And I think Beckley Road, whatever everybody says, that's Battle Creek too.
Yes, it is.
And I want it to be successful out there. I don't want to see a bunch of empty shells.
Well, all these places that people compare Battle Creek to, it takes 25, 35, 45 minutes to get across those towns.
Yeah.
It takes about 15 here.
Yeah.
We can get all the way to Kalamazoo in 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
On the other
This
side.
is where you drive.
So, don't tell Aaron that. Well, wait, is that slow?
No, I'm kidding.
Because I'm a slow driver.
Okay. I was joking. You're probably right. I think it was a little farther. But...
Well, so to me, this region,
Yeah.
it's just one big city. There's a lot of cool shit going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for instance, I love live music, but there's not a lot of live music in Battle Creek yet.
Yeah, right.
But there's also not a lot of live music that is the style of music that I like.
Uh-huh.
Bell's Brewery, however, is rocking it out with some amazing folky, bluegrassy stuff that hits my ears beautifully.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to celebrate Kalamazoo, so shame on me.
Shame on you.
We love you too,
We wish
Kalamazoo.
our friends, neighbors to the west very well.
Yes, we do.
So
We just don't need to compete with them.
That's right.
We need to be Battle Creek.
we are ourselves. All right.
Well, Mac, I drop you right at
all
the
right.
Willard Library at exactly 30 minutes, 39 seconds. Thank you for joining me. Would you come again?
I'd come anytime you ask, Jeremy. Anything for you.
And that's a perfect end.
All right.
Penetrator Events. Mac will come anytime I ask.